It's a look you hate, but you can't disguise. How do we become so deprived of the love that we used to feel inside? We used to have it so nice, but we've been out of it for quite some time, and I don't know how we are gonna make it right.
Is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, so true, so true. I don't know about you if it matters who the host is. I would hope that it doesn't, but that's just kind of the way that my world works in regards of what I think of. When you're thinking about who the host is, that is for sure so. So keep that in mind. Anyways, how was your weekend? I hope you had a fantastic time. Anyways, today is Monday, July the 10th of 2023, day 191st of the year, and only 174 days left to go. We are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
Radio in USA, Canada, UK.
Yes, you know how it goes here. We talk about all the fun stuff. There is no doubt about that, as we get to do all the fun things that we get to do on this side of the multiverse, sometimes known as the multiplex, just depending on how it's set up and all that kind of fun stuff as we are doing our thingo. That is for sure. Anyways, outside of that, did you do anything exciting? Did you do anything that you would want to brag about? Did you do anything that you want your parents to know about? No, seriously, not me, but your parents. Yeah, because I'm not a father figure. That is for sure. So there you go. No, okay, maybe I'm not a father figure to you. I'm a father figure to some other people, but that's a whole other story. But we can get into that at another time zone. So anyways, if you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process in doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. They'll get everything moving and grooving for you in that particular regards. And then outside of that, if you want to interact, that's a form of doing it. People want to interact sometimes on that other side of the equation that we know as the thingo that we call the social media aspects. You can do that, but I normally don't see them until the end. Just so you know, I always feel kind of bad about it, but it's just one of those things that it's the reality of the sourcing of the material, of the things that are going on as we are talking about them. So just keep that in mind. That is something that I don't look at until the end of everything that's going on. So keep that in mind. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we start talking right away about the things that were trending in the overnight, which sometimes becomes more like the weekend, but let's just do it that way.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so talking about the trends of the ends of the ends, the Elon Jet Kid begins to come back on Threads as Elon ketotes to the commies. So there you go. We'll talk about that. Madonna appears to be on the mend, and Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend has some not so nice things to say about the time that they were together. We'll talk about some of that. And then we'll talk about some of the things that are going on inside of the world of the things that we get to do inside of this world of safety. Maybe we'll discuss the Marshmallow Land. We'll talk about that. Maybe that could be a little exciting times in regards of doing that. So Marshmallow Land, we'll talk about that stuff and then go from there. A lot of things always going on this side of the equation. There is no doubt about that, as we get to do our thing. So keep that in mind as we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and bring in some professional broadcasters that will tell you everything that's going on inside of the world of the news, because I think that those things are important for us to get moving and grooving. There is no doubt about that. So with that being said, let's do the news, because that seems to be important.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. Congress is back in session this week after the 4th of July break. The biggest item on the agenda in the House of Representatives is the $886 billion National Defense Authorization Act, which conservatives are using as a platform to object to what they say is progressive social policy from the Pentagon. In the Senate, Democrats want the Judiciary Committee to work on establishing ethics standards for Supreme Court justices. President Biden is in London this morning on the first leg of a 5-day European trip. He arrived at number 10 Downing Street this morning for talks with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on what's been billed as a high-stakes visit leading up to the NATO summit. The president will pay a visit to King Charles at Windsor Castle later today. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is calling her visit to China constructive. More from Mark Mayfield.
Speaking on CBS Face the Nation, Yellen said she and Chinese officials discussed the global economy and both countries' economies, along with national concerns. Yellen said she also addressed reports of Chinese authorities trying to intimidate U.S. companies doing business in China.
The U.S. military says Reaper drones have killed a top ISIS leader hiding in Syria. The U.S. Central Command announced the drone strike in a statement Sunday. It noted Usama al-Mujahir was killed on Friday by the same 3 Reaper drones that had been harassed earlier in the day by Russian fighter jets over Syria. A lawsuit that was looking for reparations related to the 1921 Tulsa race massacre has been dismissed. Trey Thomas with more.
The case was filed on behalf of the last 3 survivors of the assault, which was carried out by a white mob in a community called Black Wall Street. Roughly 300 black people were killed in the incident. An Oklahoma judge dismissed it on Friday with prejudice, saying she agreed with the defendants, who argued the plaintiffs did not suffer individual effects from the massacre.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
FSN in London, I'm Nina Maria Potts with the latest world headlines. US President Joe Biden is in the United Kingdom for a short visit before joining NATO leaders at a crucial summit in Vilnius on Tuesday, which will focus on Ukraine. Monsoon rains have hit large parts of South Asia, killing at least 20 people. India's capital, New Delhi, is witnessing severe waterlogging, bringing the city to a standstill. And North Korea has warned the US that it may shoot down spy planes that violate its airspace.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
The Republican chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee says he agrees with President Biden's decision to send cluster bombs to Ukraine.
These weapons would be a game changer. They are highly effective, particularly hitting flanks of troops inside of Ukraine.
Speaking on CNN's State of the Union, Texas Congressman Michael McCall defended the decision because Ukraine intends to use the weapons in self-defense in its own country. McCall did criticize the Biden administration for being slow to get weapons to Ukraine and hindering its counteroffensive. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy says the nation's economy is getting better, but Americans aren't noticing.
The facts are on the side of the president and his administration, and I think eventually that seeps into the general sense of how the economy is.
Murphy, who's on the Biden-Harris Campaign National Advisory Board, spoke on NBC's Meet the Press. Murphy said 13 million jobs have been created under the Biden administration, and the nation's unemployment rate is under 4% for the longest stretch in 50 years. He acknowledged that inflation gets the most attention, but said the U.S. has been the leading deflationary country in the developed world over the past year. Murphy noted former President Reagan initially struggled to convince Americans the economy was improving during his first term, but then won re-election in a landslide. A Republican governor running for president says he won't support a federal abortion ban if he's elected.
What's going to pass in North Dakota is not ever going to pass in California, New York, and wouldn't even pass in the state of Minnesota.
Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum says Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum says he believes in leaving such decisions up to each state. Burgum noted that he agreed with the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade last year. And on Wall Street, stock futures are falling ahead of a key inflation data week. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN. Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, The Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay. 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Monday. Yep, it's a lovely Monday as we are doing all of the fun stuff that we get to do around here. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, Elon Musk is throwing in with the Chinese Communist Party to help expand Tesla's foothold in the country. He signed the company onto a letter from the Chinese Ministry of Industry. Yes, the Chinese Ministry of Industry and Information Technology that pledges to adhere to the socialist values. Among the guidelines, Tesla pledges not to disrupt fair competition with abnormal pricing, not exaggerated or use of false publicity to attract or gain new customers, and improve lives with high quality and products and services, and to take into a heavy responsibility of maintaining steady growth and strengthening the confidence and preventing risk. In other words, these are the things that healthy, honest, and fair businesses should do in any economy. 15 other EV manufacturers in China also signed on to the document, which is non-binding anyways, and does not, in matter of fact, matter when the CCP thugs can ultimately decide to shut down the operation on a whim if they so desire to do so. So that is coming from Jalopnik. Just so you know, that's where the information source is coming. So what do you think about the whole thing? So there you go. Meanwhile, the kid who made the Twitter bot that tracked the movement of Musk's jet and was booted from the platform after Musk took over and found a new life on Meta's Thread app. There is no interface to automate the posting of the jet movement quite yet on Threads, but the guy behind the account, Jack Sweeney, says that he hopes that he's able to set it up eventually. This is all according to the Daily Star. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the weirdness is you can be kicked off of one platform and then moved on, and you move on and go into another one, and there's not much they can do, meaning whoever the owner is of the platform, unless they just kind of dislike you, to do anything about it. I mean, just think about it. It's one of those weird things, that is for sure. Anyways, two sisters in Pennsylvania gave birth on the same day last week. Older sister Monica was admitted last Sunday for a planned labor with sister Michelle at her side for support. Early Monday morning, Monica's baby boy was born. Michelle knew that she'd be back with a planned delivery that Friday, but wait, just hours later, Michelle started getting contractions and headed back to the hospital to find out the nurses had reserved the room next to her sister to deliver her own baby. And guess this, the cousins born on the same day as adjacent rooms will also grow up as neighbors as the sisters live on the same street. This is according to CBS News. Now, if we find out that the sisters were twins, that's just going to put everything over the top.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, when news of FTX collapse broke, Tom Brady tried to get a hold of the company's brass to figure out what was going on, but his initial calls were ignored. In an interview with New York Times, the FTX head's partnership, Sina Nader, says, I never would have expected to decline a call from Tom Brady. She added that the two eventually did touch base and that Brady was empathetic to Nader's position in the middle of it all. And he told her, I know that you put your heart and soul in this. Those are awfully kind words for a man who was out $30 million overnight since his endorsement deal for the platform was totally tied up to FTX stocks, which was divided. I guess it was divided up, and eventually it was worth zero. What the hell he had, what it was worth. This is all coming according to the New York Times. So there you go. Can you imagine that? $30 million overnight. All of a sudden it goes whammo, bye bye, no longer there. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff to think about that all of a sudden has went into the night. So just keep that in mind as we are talking. A university study suggests that a new record high average of global temperature was set for the third time last week on Thursday, just days after the record reading of 62.9 degrees Fahrenheit. On Tuesday, the University of Maine Climate Rensselaer project recorded a new high average of 63 degrees. This is according to USA Today. Worth noting, even though the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration tells the Associated Press that it could not confirm the data was a result of part of a computer modeling, saying that it wasn't a good substitute for observation. In other words, the study says the data was created as a narrative. As Steve Milloy points out that Sunday's Wall Street Journal, the average actual surface temperature measurement taken around the world and proceeded 1 minute by minute basis shows that the average global temperature last Thursday was 57.5 degrees Fahrenheit, an 8% difference than the University of Maine scenario. So this is according to Steve Milloy. So, I mean, I don't know if you can really say, hey, this is what I'm guessing based on what I'm saying. And, varying the information. It gets kind of weird.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a book about electricity that has made its way back to the New Bedford, Massachusetts library 119 years after it was checked out. James Clerk Maxwell Elementary Trace of Electricity was the one to discover the pile of books and had been donated to West Virginia University Libraries. The curator there noted that it had been part of the collection from the New Bedford Library, and it was not been stamped withdrawn like the other donated items. The curator reached out to the Special Collection Library in New Bedford, who was shocked to find the book had been checked out on February the 14th of 1904. By the way, the New Bedford Library has a 5-cent per day late fee, and that at that rate, someone returning the book overdue 119 years would owe more than $2,100. The good news is the library's late fee maxes out at $2. This is via Penn Live. Could you imagine? Hey, listen, I found a book that somebody checked out and apparently forgot to return it, and I want to go ahead and return it for you. Oh, now, if you return it, you're going to owe us $2,100 and change. Could you imagine that? I mean, it's all possible, I guess, if you kind of take a look at it. So take a listen to this. Let me give you the top 10 movies in the box office. Coming in at number 10, Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, $2.8 million. At number 9, Little Mermaid with $3.5 million. Number 8, Transformers. Yes, I did say Transformers, Rise of the Beast, $5 million. At number 7, No Hard Feelings, $5.2 million. At number 6, Joyride with $5.8 million. At number 5, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, $8 million. At number 4, Elemental, $9.6 million. Number 3, Sounds of Freedom, $18.2 million. And number 2, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, $26.5 million. And at the number 1 spot is Insidious, The Red Door. So there you go, $32.6 million. 2 new movies coming out this week, by the way, before I forget. Barbie, which I just found out that is rated PG-13, which I was kind of surprised about, especially with it being a Mattel-style movie or based on a Mattel toy. That's really, the age demo is 3 to 8, but hey, I don't know. And Oppenheimer comes out this week as well, so I guess they'll duke it out in the box office. Is that this week? No, I'm a week ahead. Actually, I think it's Mission Impossible week now that I think about it. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be some interesting times for sure as things do occur. Am I in the right week? Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the wrong multiverse, depending on what the hell is going on. Anyways, with that being said, let's bring some John Smalls in for our live for him to tell us about what the hell is going on with the market beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, July 10th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets wobbled last week in holiday-shortened summertime trading. The move was sparked by caution and amplified by the Fed, which continues to trumpet the need for at least 2 more interest rate hikes. The takeaway from the week's action is that traders and investors continue to misprice the FOMC outlook. The odds of another 25 basis point hike move up to 95% on the news, but the odds of another after that remain below 50%. In this scenario, the market is heading for a reckoning that may come sooner rather than later. In other news, the labor data remains hot, but signs of weakening should not be ignored. The pace of layoffs fell monthly, but remain up 24% year over year. And the year-to-date figure is up nearly 250%. At the same time, the pace of planned hiring fell to a multi-decade low on an ex-COVID basis and suggests an economic slowdown is at hand. You can get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information on what exactly is going on. Here's what I was able to find on the other side of the equation. The Dow lost about 187 points to close at 33,734 on Sunday. The S&P lost about 12 points to close at 4,398. And the NASDAQ lost about 18 points. Did I say Sunday? Probably I didn't mean Sunday. West Texas Intermediate closed at $73 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $78 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.53, and Bitcoin lost about 62 points to close at 30,211. There was more than 5,594 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Sunday, with more than 1,839 such cancellations, and the dramatic increase in flight delays and cancellation resulted as a widespread storms across the East Coast on Sunday. Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $480 million jackpot or a $240 $3.7 million cash payout. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $650 million jackpot or a $328.3 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity of doing so. There is no doubt about that. That is for sure. So let's talk about some things that are going on. Highway data over the 4th of July has been released, and Sarah Bartlett has some details.
Virginia State Police say 5 people died in 4 crashes between July 3rd and July 4th this year. They happened in Arlington, Buchanan, Charles City, and Craig counties. Also in that time period, police say they arrested 36 drivers for DUI and gave out more than 2,000 speeding citations and 980 reckless driving citations. There were also more than 300 citations handed out for people who weren't buckled up or had their children improperly buckled. More than 120 drivers were cited for using a cell phone while driving, which is a violation of the hands-free law in Virginia. I'm Sarah Bartlett.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Bartlett, for that. Letting us know what the hell happened over the 4th of July weekend for Virginia. Governor Kathy Hochul has declared the state of emergency for Orange County. And let's see, with the Hudson Valley dealing with severe flooding, this is coming out of New York. Here's Scott Pringle.
A woman was killed in rushing floodwaters trying to escape her home in Highland Falls. And there are numerous homes and buildings partially underwater there. In Rockland County, Stony Point homes had to be evacuated after Cedar Pond Brook overflowed its banks.
210 has been evacuated. There's been flooding there. Route 9W is closed. So Stony Point has taken a major hit.
I've been here 16 years. I've never seen flooding like this at all.
Vehicles on roads have been left abandoned after being flooded out, and there are numerous road closures from sinkholes and flooding in the Hudson Valley. Scott Pringle, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Scott Pringle, for the information on what exactly is going on there. So some things definitely being very intriguing. A California Marine is in custody after a 14-year-old girl reported missing a month ago was found in the barracks at Camp Pendleton. Michael Kastner has more.
Authorities say the missing girl with learning disabilities was found on June 28th. In a TikTok video, the girl's aunt says she was sold to a Marine for sex and had been raped. So far, one Marine attached to a combat logistics squad has been taken into custody. His name has not been released. I'm Michael Kastner.
What an interesting turn of events there for the missing California girl of 14 years of age. How the hell do you end up in the barracks, number one? And there's going to be a lot of questions. Now, of course, we talk about it in this country. It's innocent until proven guilty, so I don't want to cause shame on anyone. But, man, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Definitely in that one. We'll be paying close attention to see what happens next. Take a listen to this coming out of California as well. Authorities have identified the 6 people killed in the business jet that went down on Riverside County. The NTSB investigators, Elliot Simpson, says that the Marine layer at the time of Saturday's crash was extremely heavy.
It appears that the weather was at the minimums for landing at that airport, so the visibility and ceilings allowed for a landing, but it was right on the minimums.
Everyone on board was killed. The victims, 3 men, 3 women, were all South Californian residents between the ages of 25 and 51. The crash happened early Saturday morning at Murrieta, near the French Valley Airport. The plane had taken off from Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas, and the NTSB says that the pilot reported visibility problems because of the low marine layer and crashed about 500 feet short of the runway, and it was the second deadly plane crash near the airport in Murrieta in less than a week. This man who works the French Valley Airport describes the foggy conditions of Saturday morning.
It was so dense with fog, it was almost like you're in a snow flurry where you can't see just a couple feet ahead of you.
So interesting times for sure as we are talking. No doubt about that. A deadly officer involved in a shooting is under investigation in Central Virginia. Richard Sterling reports.
A man is dead after he was shot by police in Chesterfield County. It happened Saturday in Midlothian on Wycliffe Court. Police say the man was trying to break into homes before he entered a garage and stole a hatchet. Officers confronted him while he had the hatchet, and when he refused to drop it, they tased him. Police say when the taser had no effect, an officer shot him, and he died at the scene. Police say the 2 officers involved were placed on administrative leave during the investigation. I'm Richard Stelling.
How in the hell did the taser have no effect? I mean, that's an interesting one when you really start thinking about it. So terrible to hear that he passed away, but man, there's going to be some more information coming out of that as we do take a listen. There is a new development in the Virginia teacher that was shot by a 6-year-old student. Richard Sterling has some info.
The attorneys for Abby Zwerner can now start gathering evidence in a $40 million lawsuit against Newport News Public Schools. The teacher claims administrators ignored warning signs that the boy had a gun just hours before he opened fire in January. The district says Zwerner's injuries should be covered by workers' compensation and asked to delay the discovery process until that decision is made. But a judge ruled her team can access records and interview witnesses. I'm Richard Stelling.
So here's the question. So it should be covered by workers' comp based on what they're saying for this particular trial. What do you think about it? I mean, it did happen at work. I mean, and it's not like they get paid hazard pay for the most part for the things that occur. And let's talk about it because, I mean, no, some people are not going to love me saying this, but it becomes one of those very interesting things to discuss and to talk about in regards of how that information sometimes is definitely referenced. So keep that in mind as we are talking. State police are investigating an officer involved in a shooting in Grand Haven. Diane Rolls, who lives nearby, says that she initially thought that it was a fireworks going off on early Sunday morning.
I started hearing some popping, and I didn't really think too much about it. I have heard a lot of that this past week. I certainly didn't suspect anything like this.
Okay, officers responded at around 4:30 a.m. Sunday to parking lot at Trinity Grand Haven Hospital after receiving reports of a 66-year-old suicidal man that armed with a rifle. The Department of Public Safety officers shot and killed the man during the response. Those officers have been placed on paid administrative leave. That's a difficult one to talk about because it's one of those weird ones in regards of what occurred to what the person was looking for the outcome and all that kind of fun stuff. So I don't even know what to say sometimes when it comes to those things. But anyways, with that being said, let's do this. It is that time to do that thing that we do around here. It is 32 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's go ahead and get into the story of the main or the main of the story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So listen, if we were doing radio only at the moment and we were not doing video because of the social media platforms, I would play a little song that we call Marshmallow Land by Randy Rhoads that says, "Take me to this place far from the human race. Everything's beautiful, everything's fine. I don't have this time for this place that doesn't exist." But the reason we can't play it is because it's copyrighted material, number one, and we don't have copyright clearance for video. We only have copyright clearance for audio, meaning for us to do it with the stuff that we do on the radio station. So with that being said, you're probably going, well, why in the hell are you talking about a Marshmallow Land? And no, not because I'm intrigued by having marshmallows at the moment. But man, why is it that us as safety pros sit back from time to time and expect that someone is going to come in and save everything in regards of what's going on in our organization? Why is it that we have this expectation that everything will change based on one thing that is done? We have that one fix, that one silver bullet, that one magic trick that is going to change everything and is going to take us far from this human race. Okay, maybe that was a little bit extreme on that last portion, but you understand what I'm saying here. And that's the thing. There is no such thing as this one thing that's going to change everything. There's not going to be this Messiah, the Savior that's going to come in and save everything inside of the industry on what's going on. And for some reason, we have this falsehood, this expectation that we are going to do this one thing that is going to change it all. Let me explain something, because I think that sometimes organizations have a hard time understanding this. It's not like at any point, regardless of what's going on inside of your workplace, you're going to stop doing safety. Think about that for a moment. It's not like at any time you're going to stop doing safety. And it's a difficult one for people to understand that, because it's like, well, we're as safe as we can be. Okay, but you're as safe as you can be, but it's not like you're not going to try to be safer. It's not like you're going to tell your people, okay, well, we've plateaued in regards on how safe that we are. Because listen, even if you do find the Michael Jordan, the Kobe Bryants of the world, the whatever sports metaphor you want to put into here, in regards of considering them the greatest player to come in and help with what the hell you have going on inside of your safety stuff, it's not going to change everything. It's not going to go in there and go, oh, okay, this has corrected everything within our system going forward. It's just not how it goes. And for some reason, that falsehood still exists inside of organizations that that's what's going to take place. I still drive to the same aspect that I talk about all the time. You have to have a set of principles to be able to move forward. Without the set of principles, it doesn't make a lot of sense. If you're expecting for some kind of magic work to occur and it's going to change everything, I got bad news for you, Bubba. It's not going to happen. It's not going to change. Life is not going to become perfect because of one thing that you do to make your organization safer. Because here's the fun part. People will go, well, if we just stop work altogether, this will make everything safer. Well, I got bad news for you. I have noticed that that is when people are the most unsafe, when you stop everything, because guess what happens? Boredom. And people want to do all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't know how good, how bad, or how indifferent some of that stuff is, but it's something to think about. So here's the gig, as we are talking about this at 36 minutes past the top of the hour. What do you want to do within your organization to change everything? What do you want to do inside of your organization that's going to stick? What do you want to do inside of your organization that is realistic? Because I got bad news. The Marshmallow Land is not going to be the place where everything is going to work. It's a place far from the human race. It's a fantasy land. And more than likely, you're never going to make it there because it doesn't exist.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants. It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com. Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com. ONE.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
How do we become so deprived of the love that we used to feel inside? We used to have it so nice, but we've been out of it for quite some time, and I don't know how we are gonna make it right. If you are a little bit scared, then I'll be fine. We can dance with the groove and let it roll off you. When you run your hands through my hair, then you can find we can feel the way that we used to. If you are a little bit scared.
Okay, Rated R Safety Show, hour number one of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. That is for sure, as we are talking. Oh, yes, this little song right here is by Pacific, The Way We Used To. It is currently 42 minutes past the top of the hour. Yeah, shooting some text out, talking to some people about people trying too hard. Lots of story for a different day. We'll talk about metallic dress during that time. Anyway, so this little song, The Way We Used To, you can actually give it a little streamer-eamer action if you want to by going to not by going to safetyfm.com. That's the wrong place. You can go to Spotify. You can go to Apple Music. You can go to YouTube Music, and that will allow you to do all that kind of fun stuff if you want to do that. So anyways, I got to do some fun stuff over the weekend this weekend. Yesterday, I got to hang out at the zoo. Got to see some family. That's what I do. I go to the zoo to see some family members. Oh, no. Am I saying the wrong thing? Yeah, I'm saying the wrong thing. Just because they act like animals doesn't mean that they are. Okay, gotcha. So there you go. So streamer action for this one if you want to. We got some more things to talk about. There is no doubt about it. Yeah, the way we used to. Why is it that people always want to reminisce about the past? I mean, I don't get that too much. It's that whole nostalgia piece. Like, I was having a conversation over the weekend with someone, and I was telling them about how it's funny that when you're in a relationship with someone or were within a relationship with someone, and all of a sudden you separate, on how most people only remember the good times and not the bad times. It's funny on how that works, on how that mind thing does the trickery on you. I mean, but that's a, maybe that we're getting into a whole other realm though. Let's just keep it rated R. Let's do that. Okay, so thank you to Pacific for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yes, thank you for coming to our Marshmallow Land as we are talking. So anyways, with that being said, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. Yes, To Write Love on Her Arms. Listen, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better.
healing is possible. If you want to find out more information about what they're all about, all you have to do is go to Write Love on Her Arms. That's TWLOHA.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. Find help if you need immediate help. View the 24-hour helplines that are available on their website. They have subject matters related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, and many other things. So keep that in mind as we are talking. So there you go. There you go. To Write Love on Her Arms, all the way far right-hand side once you get to the website and click on the section that says Find Help. TWLOHA.com. Yes, I will talk about them because this is an organization that I will tell you, I think it's great. I have for years at this particular point in time, and no need to go into the stories that we talk about. But, I mean, I think that people get the general consensus that I am, very intrigued by everything that they have to offer. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, let's get into some new stuff about some things that are going on inside of the world. So take a listen to this. If you absolutely hate packing before leaving for vacation or on a bus trip, then this idea from the Japan Airlines is for you. As of last week, Japan-bound passengers can reserve clothing to be delivered to their accommodations upon arrival, creating a travel experience with minimal luggage experience, according to the airline. The company Sumitomo Como will be responsible for gathering, laundering, and delivering the items, which will be sourced to overstocked and pre-owned apparel. One set of clothing will cost you about $28 to $49, and you'll be able to rent up to 8 outfits for as long as 2 weeks. The anywhere, yes. So anywhere, ANYWEAR, 2 separate words, to anywhere with ANYWHERE program seeks to lighten up the passengers' loads. And for those on planes, Japan Airlines will keep the track of the baggage weight, and the study on how it will affect the emissions of the aircraft over the next 14 months. My wife would still manage to pack enough stuff to have to pay extra. And the problem here is that when you need to pack up all your stuff that you brought on vacation, then you remember that you don't have a suitcase. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. What do you think about that? I remember pre-pandemic. And I am saying pre-pandemic, there was a service offering that used to be out there that would allow you to actually order clothes, and you would tell them where you're going, and they would send you, or you had 2 options. You can order clothes, and then you had this option where they would actually send the suitcase to you, to wherever you were located. Or you could actually pre-pack clothes, and then you tell them where you're going, and then those clothes would get sent to you. Then when you were done, you would ship them back, and all that stuff would be washed and then recycled. So I guess you could look at it from the standpoint that you can never gain weight because that could become a small cluster as we are talking. So there you go. So let's throw some shade at ebooks real quick. You've got to wonder how it is that one has thought of this before, but an e-reader that you wear like a pair of glasses. The Soul e-book reader is an innovative device shaped as a pair of sunglasses, and in many ways it is similar to a VR headset, but it helps you much more simplistic gadget designed solely as a hands-free e-reader. Weighing about 100 grams, the Soul was created for a more comfortable reading experience, like reading a book while laying down. The Soul reader features a pair of 1.3-inch slide-lit E-Link displays, each capable of displaying 65,536 pixels. Its manufacturer claims that the blocks out the outside visual distractions, allowing the reader to focus on the ebook. The pages are protected against a dark background, and reading experience is described to be similar to looking at pages of an actual book. And it does not one flip page, if you ask. Users push a button and remote-like control. The Soul Weather ebook readers can be now pre-ordered in the U.S. for $350. So if you want to take a look around. So great now that my wife nods off while reading a book, the light will always be off. The only problem here is that you need to wear the actual glasses to be able to read. So there you go. Some stuff to think about for sure as we are talking. It just kind of goes all over the place there as we are talking about it. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, let's take a look around at some other things, because there's always an array of news that is coming in as things are going. So take a listen to this. Des Moines Bar has yet another shooting over the weekend. Take a listen to this.
Des Moines police responded to a report of shots fired at the parking lot of Zora Bar and Rooftop just west of downtown early Sunday.
We're going to have to go in there and start clearing it out here in a second before we got any more shots, but tell those guys not to go in yet till we get this parking lot at Zora cleaned out first.
Police dispatch audio. Crowds took cover behind surrounding businesses. One woman was injured when she slashed her foot on a piece of glass during the melee, but no other injuries are reported. Last November, a 29-year-old man was shot and killed in the parking lot in what police say was a targeted incident. I'm Andrew Howe.
Okay, thank you, Andrew, for that. Take a listen to this. Officials are urging commuters to try and work from home in parts of the Hudson Valley because of the severe storm damage. This truck driver's had trouble in the Palisades Parkway this morning. Take a listen.
We were driving through 3 or 4 feet of water, rushing. This truck weighs close to 18,000 pounds, and you could feel the water pushing this truck back.
There are numerous road closures, including 9W Palisades Parkway and the Bear Mountain Bridge, just to name a few, because of the storm damage and flooding. The Metro North Hudson line service is suspended between Croton and Harmon. So there you go, as the crews remove the downed trees and repair parks due to the storm damage and the flooding. Amtrak has suspended service between Albany and New York City. So there you go. If you're out there in that general area, just keep those things in mind as we are talking for sure. So there you go. Take a listen to this one real quick. An investigation continues following a deadly wrong-way crash involving a CTA bus and an SUV on Deuceable Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. Here's what Perry Williams has to say.
The collision happened early yesterday morning near Kenwood. Police say a man was driving a Dodge Journey southbound in the northbound lanes when he crashed into a CTA bus. A woman passenger in the SUV passed away at the hospital, while the driver and another woman are in critical condition. Meanwhile, the bus driver and 12 passengers were hospitalized in good condition. Fire officials say the SUV ended up in flames as a result of the crash. I'm Perry Williams.
Okay, thank you, Perry Williams, for that. Take a listen to this coming out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. Fredericksburg police say that they have increased the reward for information that leads to the arrest of a teenager's murderer. Sarah Bartlett has more.
The department is now offering $10,000 in the case of 19-year-old Antoine Fox. He was shot and killed in the early morning hours of Saturday, June 10th in Fredericksburg. As officers investigated the scene, they found several vehicles in the area had been hit by bullets. They're hoping that raising the reward offering will encourage more people with information to come forward so they can find the suspects involved. Anyone who has information can contact the Fredericksburg Police Department, and you can remain anonymous. I'm Sarah Bartlett.
Okay, thank you, Sarah, for that information right there. Anyways, with that being said, let's see if we can get some motivation in our life. Let's bring some John Smalls back in. Take a listen to this.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Brian. Thema Davis said, "The way you treat people says a lot about who you are. Be careful. Your actions are screaming over your words." I agree with this completely. I've been with people who speak kindly but treat somebody horribly by their actions. I don't usually spend much time with them. The very best way to be is to say nice things and to do nice things. Just be a nice person. We've probably all had a bad day, but if your bad day turns into a bad week or a bad month, maybe it's because of the way you treat other people. Try to go out of your way to be super kind to others and see how that affects you. I think you'll like it. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Doctors in Oklahoma City have become the first in the nation to train Ukrainian surgeons on how to treat war injuries. This training is part of a program launched in 2022 by the American Academy of Facial, Plastic, and Reconstructive Surgeons, which sent doctors to Europe to help and to teach. OU Health says they're training up to 4 surgeons for about a month every 2 to 3 months. The entire program funded by donations. New York University is starting a similar program program. Arizonans 18 and up will soon be able to go to their local drugstores and buy contraceptives without a doctor's prescription. Governor Katie Hobbs says the rule will go into effect immediately, but those wanting this type of birth control will have to complete a screening and blood pressure test. Birth control meds are already sold over the counter in Oregon, California, and in Washington, D.C. Health Update, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Lee Kessler. Let's take a look around at some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1985, Greenpeace loses a ship near New Zealand's coast after operators of the French government sink it using a planted bombs. The Greenpeace mission, it was to protect the French bomb test in the South Pacific. Officials of the government denied the involvement. Francis Mitterrand, the prime minister at the time, would be implicated in authorizing the detonation mission in reports released 20 years later. That happened back in 1985. If you're looking at some birthdays to celebrate for today, I got some of those for you. Angus Cloud turns 25, Perry Edwards 30, Will Smith, the baseball player, not the actor, 34 years old, Antonio Brown 35, Thomas Ian Nichols 43, Jessica Simpson 43, Sophia Vergara, not Viagra, 51 years of age, Urban Meyer 59, and Jackie Chung turned 62 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I have some of those for you. It's National Kitten Day, International Town Cries Day, Don't Step on a Bee Day, Teddy Bear Picnic Day, Pick Blueberries Day, and National Pina Colada Day. That sounds like a good day. It's like drinking pina colada and getting drunk in the rain. And if you're not into, that's a whole other thing. That's a song. Maybe we'll play the Pina Colada song during hour number 2 here, getting everything started over there. Maybe that's what we'll start off with. Maybe we'll do it that way. So there you go. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, I have one of those for you. It's cleaning day today. I've never polished off 2 chocolate bars. There you go. What else? If you need a phone starter, try this. What product or service is way more expensive than it needs to be? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. 1 in 10 admit to eating this for breakfast. What is it? Ice cream. Ice cream. You scream, I scream, we all scream for ice cream. So there you go. What else do we got? Okay, so I got this coming up if you're not familiar with it. The Conklin Conference is coming up September the 27th through the 29th. You have the opportunity to come out, hang out with us, and take a look around and what's going on. You'll have the opportunity of seeing Jen Long, Bob Edwards, Mark Yeston, Andrea Baker, and Todd Conklin. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there as we will be hanging out in good old Orlando, Florida. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.io for more information. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, we couldn't do what we do around here. That is for sure. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Build a life that you don't need a vacation from. Think about it. Build a life that you don't need a vacation from. What a thing to think about today. Anyways, thank you. Thank you for taking a listen to what we have going on. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
We can feel the way that we used to. Until I die. Doesn't mean that we don't need a break sometimes. And I hate it when we fight. Better to untangle than to just cut ties.